This is the closing plenary, and I would like to keep it short, hopefully, so we can wrap it up in about half an hour. And it gives me a great pleasure to moderate this session of 4 distinguished panelists. 2 of those panelists are here, and 2 are joining us virtually. Let me introduce these 4 panelists quickly. We have Mr. Sirajul Islam, who is an executive chairman of the BIDA, the Bangladesh Investment and Development Association. Then we have Ms. Nasima Begum, chair of the National Human Rights Commission, Bangladesh. Then virtually we have 2 speakers. I see Geeta. So Geeta Rolians, who is the head of the MNE unit of ILO. And I see now Livio Serendiri as well, the BHR global lead of UNDP. So thank you everyone for joining us. And these are not merely 4 panelists. I would say these are the 4 key players in the business and human rights in South Asia and as well as in Bangladesh trying to push the agenda. At the outset, I would like to thank Mr. Islam, the executive chairman of BIDA, for his leadership and vision in promoting responsible investment in Bangladesh, and also for hosting us in this building for this event. So we are very grateful for you, sir, and also for your presence here. Without any further ado, in fact, I would like to, because I understand you have to leave, sir, so probably I'll start with you. So if you can share with us what BIDA has been doing and what BIDA plans to do in coming years in terms of promoting responsible business in Bangladesh. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, sir. You have the floor. Yeah, please.
Recording in progress.
Does it work? Oh, okay, that's fine. Thank you. So, respected panelists, audience, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to join this session. Of course, this is the closing session of 3 days program. I was supposed to remain present in the inaugural session. Ms. Kaur, in fact, she invited me to remain present in the inaugural session, but I was busy otherwise outside the country, so I could not attend the inaugural session. Still, I'm really happy that I could at least join this closing session. I have to run for another program which will start at 6:30 in Gulshan. So please excuse me for taking the first chance to speak in the closing session. Well, in response to the question put forward by the moderators, let me tell you that Bangladesh celebrated its 50th independence and also the birth centenary of the father of the nation this year. It is just continuing till today. And according to World Bank, the country has been among the first growing economies in the world over the past decade, supported by a demographic dividend, strong ready-made garments export, and stable macroeconomic conditions. We are doing better on many human development indicators than our peer countries. It is now recognized, in fact, all over the world. As Bangladesh is set to graduate from the least developed countries in 2026, the country is committed to pursuing a path of sustainable development, which respects both people and the planet in line with the UN GPS. As the lead agency in promoting institutional and policy reforms across the board, BIDA plays a critical role in facilitating private investment and improving the ease of doing business in Bangladesh. With the timeline set for graduation from the least developed countries, effective in 2026, ensuring effective corporate governance and adhering to the institutional, oh my goodness, I cannot read these things. Adhering to the international social and environmental standards will provide momentum for Bangladesh to further enhance its reputation among foreign investors and increase foreign direct investment inflows. Discussion at the three-day forum demonstrated multi-stakeholder and multi-sectoral approaches that will advance BIDA's concerted efforts to make Bangladesh's LDC graduation process sustainable, resilient, and inclusive, with strong attention to business, respect for people and the planet. With growing momentum in South Asia on the implementation of the UNGPS, we strongly believe that BIDA can become a champion of responsible business in Bangladesh, and thus lead the charge in future-proofing the country's economy. We hope to coordinate with relevant stakeholders from the public and private sectors to strengthen policy frameworks and promote responsible business. Promote respectable business practices in Bangladesh. We hope to be able to work with other ministries and departments under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister and push forward developments of Bangladesh's National Action Plan to promote responsible business practices and investment. Lastly, we are determined that the development in Bangladesh will not be done at the cost of people and planet. We will graduate from LDC only responsible and sustainable, making sure that all our people have equal opportunities and growth while we protect our environment. We see the UNGPs, the SDGs, and climate change as connected agenda in the light of our whole of society approach. The government will adopt a holistic approach in promoting responsible business, the government will adopt a holistic approach in promoting responsible business conduct and ensuring that no one is left behind. We are also committed to pushing for a just transition, as Bangladesh is especially vulnerable to climate change. The government is fully aware of the challenges that Bangladesh faces in the business and human rights field. However, if all ministries, business, trade unions, and other actors work together, I am confident that we could overcome the challenges. In this context, peer learning and sharing of good practices among South Asia countries, sharing similar political, economic, social, and cultural background is vital. Regional forums like this provide a good platform to facilitate this. Constructive discussion during these 2 days have contributed to developing pathways for inclusive and sustainable development in Bangladesh as well as in South Asia generally, And I thank the organizer for organizing this wonderful forum here. And I also thank you for choosing BIDA's, BIDA is the venue for this regional forum. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Islam. And I think your remarks connect very well with the previous session, which Geeta was moderating about how we can use trade and investment agreements to harness the responsible investment and sustainable development. So thank you very much for these remarks. And we appreciate and welcome your commitment to push the BHR agenda and promote responsible business and responsible investment in Bangladesh. And we look forward to collaborating with you in coming years in achieving this objective. Now, let me invite the second distinguished panelist, who is also a key player in our pursuit for pushing the business and human rights agenda in Bangladesh. And she is the chair of the National Human Rights Commission. So, Ms. Begum, you have the floor. Thank you.
Distinguished panelists, presence in the podium, and our respected audience and my colleagues. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to you all. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer for arranging the third UN South Asia Forum on Business and Human Rights in Dhaka. Has taken place at the right point of time when the COVID-19 pandemic affected all over the globe and not exception in Bangladesh. So the forum focused on pressing issues in South Asia related to business and human rights aspect. Now, I would like to mention here that the National Human Rights Commission Bangladesh has been relentless efforts to protect the fundamental human rights of all individuals and improve the standards of human rights in the country. The Commission has an extensive mandate. It oversees the human rights situation of the country as watchdog and plays an advocacy and catalyst role to push forward the human rights agenda. The Commission also acts as a bridging institution that collaboration with CSOs, NGOs, business organizations, and government, providing a platform for exchanging views and ideas. To look over the issues, Commission has formed 12 thematic committees that include business and human rights, migrant worker, and climate change, environment and disaster management also. There are some activities in our NHRCs, but especially the business and human rights is very important now in this arena. Because of that, we know that business and human rights dialogue is comparatively new phenomenon in the region. In this context, there is a lack of significant knowledge in this aspect at institutional level also. So awareness raising and capacity building is required on business and human rights issues. The increased awareness is hoped to ultimately lead to a strong will on the part of the government and the business sector to the development to a national action plan on business and human rights. NHRC Bangladesh had medium-term and long-term objectives in identifying and addressing the business and human rights issues through the NHRC's Committee on Business and Human Rights and Corporate Social Responsibilities. The Commission has representation from the government, ministries, business association, state-owned enterprise, civil society organization, including organizations of indigenous, minorities group also. So this composition shows the entry points in engaging with diverse stakeholders. On this regard, NHRC Bangladesh would take initiative in building the various sectors such as the government ministries, departments, and the private sector, CSO and other relevant entities so that Bangladesh can develop a national action plan on business and human rights. Dear audience, we all know that business and human rights dialogue is comparatively a new phenomenon, but where the gap among the business personnel and as well as our consumers are concerned. In this aspect, an institutional level, awareness raising and capacity building is required on business and human rights issues. So collaborative action will be required from the public-private sector for NEP formulation implementation. Here, the BIDA chairman already he declared that they will be the champion of the business sector. So I would like to invite him, not only the business sector champion, of course, business as human rights champion. So I would say, I requested to be the chairman, please go ahead with the, we NHRC and BIDA is work together. Then I feel that we can push forward to the government to own these initiatives, and government, of course, then government and all the sectors, if we work together and we achieve our targets, then of course we are in line with National Action Plan, with the UN guiding principles, which already declared by the UN in the year 2011, and Bangladesh, NHRC Bangladesh already translated these UN guiding principles in Bangla, such as our business personnel can, and our consumers and employees, both, everyone are understand very clearly actually what is business and what is human rights. So business and human rights is very important for us, and we should think about it. And I again requested to BIDA chairman, please let me work together and we can proceed, even a co-host in the BIDA and NHRC. Thank you all. Thank you for patience hearing.
Thank you very much, Ms. Begum. I think we count on you, and also I would like to acknowledge that Dr. Kamaluddin Ahmed, the full-time member of the commission, is very much here, and so under the leadership of the chair and Dr. Ahmed working together and working with BIDA and other partners, we very much hope that we can push forward the National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights in Bangladesh in coming years. Without any further ado, I would like to turn on to my two distinguished panelists who have joined us virtually. So thank you for your patience. Geeta, if I may turn to you first. We have worked together in various forums, but in South Asia also, Geeta, we have collaborated with ILO for the last 2 years as co-organizer, and also in the first forum also ILO was a key partner. So what are your reflections, Geeta? Where have we reached in these last couple of years, despite the pandemic intervening? And where do you see this collaboration between ILO and all the partners, and especially the tripartite framework of the ILO and the role of all these three constituents is very vital in my view. So if you can share brief reflections, about 5 minutes maximum. Thank you. You have the floor, Geeta. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Surya. And this is a very wide question for me, for 5 minutes, but I will try to do my best. And I mean, first of all, I would like to really thank Bangladesh for hosting the third forum on business and human rights, as well as the working group. I mean, you, Surya, working group on business and human rights, and UNDP for the close collaboration in organizing this third South Asia forum. We have indeed forged over the years a very close collaboration in the whole business and human rights agenda. And that, of course, is an expression of course, the fact that labor rights are human rights. And as such, the protection and observance of international labor standards is part of and contributes to the UN Business and Human Rights Protect, Respect and Remedy framework and the implementation of the UNGPs. These international labor standards are indeed negotiated and adopted by governments, employers, and workers. So this is the tripartite structure in the ILO. They are adopted in the form of conventions, recommendations, and declarations, such as the 1998 Declaration on Fundamental Principles and Rights at Work and the ILO Tripartite Declaration concerning multinational enterprises and social policy. And I think we've had a very rich forum with many panel sessions, many of which indeed focused on the need for better protection of labor rights in business operations in South Asia, as well as the need for stronger respect by business of these rights, including through due diligence, that includes meaningful engagement and consultations with potentially affected rights holders, including in the case of labor rights workers and their representative organizations. The sessions also highlighted the need for better access to remedy and the need to strengthen preventative mechanisms in this regard. And I think there, what the ILO is really about is namely social dialogue mechanisms, as well as strengthening of industrial relations, including at the enterprise level. The COVID-19 pandemic has already been mentioned by other speakers, but I would like to highlight that, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic has had a profound impact on the world of work, and it has exacerbated existing decent work deficits in many countries around the world, including in South Asia. And it has also allowed a reflection on what is needed to deal with these decent work deficits, as well as with other developments in the world of work. And I would like to mention here the ILO Global Call to Action for a Human-Centered Recovery from the COVID-19 crisis that is inclusive, sustainable, and resilient. Because this global call to action is very relevant for the business and human rights agenda, as it includes a call to provide all workers with adequate protection, reinforcing respect for international labor standards, promoting their ratification, implementation, and supervision, with particular attention to areas where serious gaps have been revealed by the crisis. And this includes respect for fundamental principles and rights at work, an adequate minimum wage, which was already mentioned in various panels, maximum limits on working time, and safety and health at work, with particular attention to the ongoing challenges presented by COVID-19. But also redouble efforts to address the increasing fundamental rights violations, with a special emphasis on elimination of child labor and forced labor, a transformative agenda for gender equality, universal social protection, strengthening social dialogue, and strengthening occupational safety and health, recognizing that safe and healthy working conditions are fundamental to decent work and thus to human rights. There are many specific initiatives that I could highlight, but of course I'm aware of the time that I have, but I would just draw your attention to the fact that safe and healthy working conditions are currently being included in the Fundamental Principles and Rights Framework in the ILO, and the upcoming 110th International Labour Conference meeting in June 2022 will discuss and decide on the inclusion of safe and healthy working conditions in the ILO's framework on fundamental principles and rights at work. Thus adding adding inclusion of safe and healthy working conditions along freedom of association and collective bargaining, the elimination of child labor, elimination of forced labor, elimination of discrimination in employment and occupation as a fundamental principle and right at work. And this is very relevant in the context of the business and human rights agenda, as the guiding principles make a direct reference to the ILO Declaration on Fundamental Principles and Rights at Work. I just want to highlight again, this is a collaborative.
Can you please wrap up? Sorry.
Agenda, yes. And as ILO, of course, we will continue to support, governments, workers, and employers in the member states in South Asia on ILO standards, including on the further promotion of the M&E Declaration. We have specific programs, we have specific tools. So I strongly encourage governments, employers, and workers, to reach out also to the ILO offices in the countries in South Asia to further make progress on decent work, on human rights in business and operations. And we are there to provide support and further strengthen our partnerships with the working group, with UNDP, with the other UN agencies in moving forward on this agenda on business and human rights. So thank you very much again for the collaboration, and back over to you, Surya.
Thank you very much, Geeta, and thank you also for reinforcing this interlinkages between labor rights and human rights. And of course, labor rights are human rights. And I think when we say business and human rights, it implicitly includes labor rights. And I would add including environmental rights and all climate change considerations. Last but not least, I will turn to Livio. And before I give you the floor, Livio, I would like to acknowledge and congratulate your support and vision and leadership. Because during the opening, I mentioned that I floated this idea to you in 2018 towards the end. But ideas have to be executed. They have to be owned. And I very much appreciate that you shown that appetite for this idea, and we work together to make it a reality. So with that, thanks from my side. Livia, you have the floor, and I will be curious if you have any quick reflections where you think we should be going in South Asia in pushing this agenda step by step, working together. You have the floor, Livio. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Surya, and greetings, everyone from Bangkok. I know that we are very limited in time, and I will come to your question, but I shall first use 2 of my 7 minutes to give a big, sincere, special thanks to you, Surya, as you conclude your mandate with the UN Working Group on Business and Human Rights in a few days. I'm doing this on behalf of UNDP's team, but I know I represent many more actors in this field that think the same. So thank you for your absolute tireless work and for the phenomenal partnership approach you championed in these last 7 years, Surya. If the needle moved on business and human rights in Asia, including in South Asia, is to a very large extent because of your hard work, your dedication, your passion, patience, and your resilience when things were not going in the right directions. I know you will point out that this was a team effort, and UNDP, ILO, and others also had an important role, but you were no doubt our beacon, our guidance in this process. As you recollected, I remember very well when in Singapore, you almost timidly shared the idea, which sounded ambitious at that stage, to have a dedicated forum for South Asia. And there was a spark in your eyes that I remember very well and left me with very little doubts on the opportunity ahead. The rest, of course, is history with Harpreet on board, her team, great cooperation with ILO and other partners. Here we are, reflecting on our 3rd and hopefully not the last South Asia Forum on Business and Human Rights. So here I'm stating already one way forward, stating my wish to continue this experience with more forums in South Asia. I will, of course, consult with Harpreet on this intention. I'll do that only after she recovers from the exhaustion of this forum, because I suspect she may not agree with me today, given how much work it required. I'm coming to my reflections on the forum. Surya, you have been such a great source of inspiration for me personally, that you must also allow me this time my personal homage to you to use as a headline for each of my 4 brief reflections today, 4 of the many many famous quotes from Professor Surya that we have all become familiar with in the last 6 years. So my first reflection is on the ABC, awareness raising, building capacity, and collaboration. Now, the deliberation of this forum spoke to me. I attended many of the sessions of slow but steady progress in each of these areas. Collaboration, I'm starting with the last one, is the one which in my view has probably progressed the most. I see a community coming together. I see UNDP, ILO, and the UN Working Group, many others joining hands more purposely on this important forum. The second we organized together, the third with the working group, and of course, many more in Asia Pacific. We're seeing great representation of all stakeholders in this event. Probably I've noticed more government officials than ever, which is a good signal. Way forward here is clear, keep organizing this forum. Now, awareness raising and capacity buildings are never-ending tasks. And as we reach more people, our work on the basics must continue. Way forward, I'd like to bring the deliberation of this forum to more schools, like we are doing in Southeast Asia also together, to more government agencies that are not even aware yet that they are connected to business and human rights. My second reflection, business and human rights is not a 100-meter sprint, it's a marathon. Now, what I've heard in this forum this year speak to me of more and more milestone reached, to stick to the same metaphor, but also spoke to me of that frustration, that exhaustion that even the more successful marathon runners feel at some point in the race when they see that the finishing line never seems to arrive, right? And we've seen many examples of this. We'll need resistance, we'll need resilience, we'll need passion. Way forward, UNDP. In UNDP, we are patient, we are resilient, we are here to commit to an engagement in South Asia for the long run. Very happy to have heard the same commitment, obviously, from ILO. So we're together in this. And by the way, I'm convinced that we will have an app in India soon. Third reflection, business and human rights is a storm that is not going to go away. Now, in the words of the advisor of the Prime Minister office at the opening plenary and in the intervention of the speakers of the human rights due diligence session, which I moderated yesterday, I saw a depth in the realization of the fact that business and human rights is the inevitable way forward. A realization which I had never seen, a depth in that realization I had never seen in previous forums. But let us make no mistake, outside these forums, many are still hoping that the rain will start falling, right? The rain of human rights due diligence. These forums and other activities of UNDP's project in South Asia, and I'm sure also of ILO, will be there to convince them that they should better prepare their umbrellas because more cyclones are coming their way from the EU in the form of mandatory environmental and human rights due diligence, as we have heard in this forum. Fourth, and my last reflection, pressure points. I saw great interest in the audience for what is happening in the EU. The connection with the EU supply chain is an obvious pressure point. We at UNDP are lucky to be implementing a project with the EU, also in South Asia. We will use our links to the Commission in Brussels, with the EU Chambers of Commerce, even more. And we'll use other pressure points that were not pointed out to this forum, but they exist, I believe, also in Tokyo. We know that Japan has also shown recently a great interest in better managing their supply chain and working also with Asian suppliers. It's another important pressure point in my view. And we, UNDP, will use for this purpose the resources and leverage activities of a new project we are starting with support from Japan, which will have also, among others, 2 South Asian countries in focus, Nepal and Pakistan. I would have a lot more to say, but I guess I will leave you with this bouquet of reflections. And I look forward to the next forum with you as a participant, Surya, of course, you may actually end up enjoying the next forum even more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Livio. That was quite an emotional looking back at my quotes, and you try to weave it also in terms of the forward looking. So very much appreciated. And of course, it's a pity that you are not here in person, but I'm sure there will be opportunities to meet. Ladies and gentlemen, online as well as in person, that almost concludes the closing session of this forum. We agreed that I will thank Harpreet and Harpreet will thank others. So I need to thank Harpreet because I think Livy also acknowledged that we could not have done any of these forums without her hard work. And she hardly eats, she works as her food as well on many occasions. And I think she single-handedly pulled these forums, coordination, thousands of emails, hundreds of groups on WhatsApp and whatnot. And so I think, thank you, Harpreet. Without you, we could not have done it. And I wish you all the best and keep going. And the people clapping as well, virtually as well in the room. So a round of applause for her. And with that, I pass it on to her because there are also many team members we should thank. And I pass the microphone to Harpreet to do that. Thank you.
Okay, this is now making me emotional. But Surya, thank you for your idea, and thanks to Livio for trusting in me and my capabilities. But you said I did this single-handedly. Surya, I did not. I think I've had tremendous support and guidance, not just from my team, but under strong leadership of Livio. But I think I really do have to, Livio, give this a lot to my team here who have been really working. We've been having sleepless nights, and I'm not exaggerating it. We can share these chats with you where we're speaking to each other at 2 o'clock, remembering, oh, the speaker hasn't got the link yet. Or, somebody saying, well, somebody has canceled and we need to sort of fix up a few things. But I really would like to thank, first and foremost, my team. I think who've really been the strong pillars, not just for this forum, but I think all the forums and all the work that we've been doing. I think a lot of people do not realize the kind of back end and the back support that goes in organizing these hybrid events. You guys are here in person, so including all your travel and logistics support, particularly right now with COVID, but also people joining online. So I would actually like to start with Suparak, and maybe if I say your name, please just stand. I think I would really like you to applause for them. Suparak, for all his technical support. I think we couldn't have had everybody online and had such smooth transition if Suparak wasn't there. So thank you so much for that. Sun, for all her support here in managing things, not just in Bangladesh, but also sort of working with regional level. Mehruna, for doing all our interpretations, including, I would run into meetings and I'm like, so Mehruna, I'm not understanding what these people are saying, but she really worked very hard. In fact, Surya and Livia, both of you mentioned about bringing government officials. I think that credit really goes to Mehruna because she's been making these calls and trying to brief and explaining why the government should be here. So thanks, Mehruna, for that work. All the this work that you see and the work that sort of make all of us look, goes to Amy because she's been sort of really at the back end, but all the comms work that she's been really, really supporting us. Thank you, Amy. I also have another member who's not here, Kevin Lehman, who's been sort of really, in some ways a really strong member of the team. He worked and he supported us a lot during the forum. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here. But thanks, Kevin. This is for you because we all know and the team realize how much we have put in the effort here. I also have another team here, the Human Rights Program team, without which, we couldn't have done the day-to-day work. Kamal, Russell, Durlav, Taslima, I think all of them have been here, providing us all the support here on the ground. So thank you, all of you, for all your support here as well. Sorry, I really do have a long list of people to thank because I cannot take this credit just by myself. I would also like to thank colleagues from ILO. Geeta, this has been a real pleasure coordinating with your team. We've had heated moments. I'm not saying that it was easy, but all of this was because all of us were trying to really do better and make it best. I think Yusuf for his leadership and being constantly coming to us with solutions. Shainesh, Kadir, Niaz, Kelvin, who's not here, but also, we've been having lots of conversations with your colleague, and I know that a lot of feedback came from your colleagues, not just from your Bangladesh office, but also your South Asia as well as Geneva offices. So thank you very much, ILO colleagues. I did not see anybody here, but thank you so much for all your support. I think I have to also say a big thanks to the partners, because we've been talking about these side sessions. We've had some 40 partners joining with us over the forum. Many of them joined and organized country sessions, side sessions with us. So a big thanks to all the partners for keeping the momentum strong. I think we wouldn't have been able to do this if we wouldn't have so many partners coming together for the forum. I also would like to really thank all the interns, and all the volunteers who have been helping us. So if you could please stand, all the volunteers. I don't know if they're still here or still outside at the desk. I think, it's a really, really big thanks to you for all your work, for all your dedication. I think you all did a phenomenal job. And in the end, I think I would really like to thank all the speakers, but also the participants, both online and joining us virtually. We could have put all of this big show together. It wouldn't have meant anything if you wouldn't have shown up. So thank you for showing up, and thank you for being here with us for all the 3 days. Thanks very much. And yeah, all of this wouldn't have happened if this magic team wouldn't have been here, so kind of really working behind the scenes. Thanks, Jihad and Imad and all of your team. Thank you so much. Mehruna, did we have anything for interns? Okay, sorry, we would just take maybe 5 more minutes, because we really wanted to thank these interns who have been providing us all the support and doing all of this really, really in a committed ways. We've got some goodies for them, Surya and German, if you could help us with them. I think we'd just like to give them. And I don't know if anybody from the floor has any reflections or would want to say anything, but Mehruna, can you come? Maybe. They will come one by one. Maybe we'll come by one. Okay, come. Why don't you come one by one? Introduce yourself, and then we'll have this. I will give it to you. I will give it to you, so that's okay. And then it's going to come in the picture, so you'll have to be here, and we will give you here. No protocol. We just want to thank you. We've done enough protocols for the day, but thank you, Sadman, for being here with us.
Thank you.
Coming next. Come. Thank you very much. Sorry, I got to read your name. Ariful Rahman. Thank you. Who's done? Will you read? Okay. Tasneem Nusrat. She's not here. Nosheen Noor. I think she's here.
Nawar, Nosheen Nawar.
Oh, Nosheen Nawar. Okay, will you read the name, because I'm ready.
Suraya Firdaus. Shorav Das Ronnie. Arifur Rahman. You have to take it. Arban Chakma. Nosheen Nawar.
Thank you very much. Can we have a big round of applause for all of them? Thank you very much. Yep. All right. Thank you, everyone. We hope to see you. I don't know, there was a race yesterday between Nepal, Maldives, or India for the next South Asia Forum. So we'll see you hopefully in one of these countries. Thank you everyone for joining and hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you very much.